because they have a castle built inside a studio and everything's real. It's not just silly props. Everything smells correct. Not that I know what a castle should smell like. There would be real dead animals hanging up, like you really felt like you were there.
Welcome to Story and Craft. Now, here's your host, Mark Preston.
Okay, here we go. Another episode of Story and Craft. How are you? Hope you're doing well. My name is Mark Preston. If this is your first episode of Story and Craft, welcome. So glad to have you. Appreciate you being by for the fun and mischief. And of course, if this is a return episode, you've been here before, thank you for coming back by. Very much appreciated. All right, today, Kristian Nairn. Going to let you check out the sit-down Kristian and I had. Really cool guy. You might know him from Game of Thrones. Also, Our Flag Means Death, another HBO show. Now, the new book he has out, a memoir, is called Beyond the Throne, talking about his life, his background, not only as an actor, but as a DJ. He's mixed with and toured with some big names. Just an interesting guy. Really enjoyed the opportunity to sit down with Kristian. Also appreciate the opportunity to have you here with me. Don't forget, if you would, just go and follow the show. Super simple. Make sure you follow, like the show, ring the bell, all that kind of stuff that you do on your podcast app. That way you get notified every time there is a new episode. And also, it's a way to show a little bit of love, and you know I appreciate it. I'm sending you a big hug right now for showing love. And also, storyandcraftpod.com, the website, everything you could possibly want to know about the show. Again, storyandcraftpod.com. All right, so right now I've got a golden retriever. The Ranger is underneath my legs here. He's being very good. Yes, I'm talking about you. You know, it's his first show he's done with me, hanging out, sitting with me here while I record. He's looking at me going, make this thing interesting. Okay, so I will do that right now because it is Kristian Nairn Day right here on Story and Craft.
Yeah, it's very much about Our Flag Means Death at the moment. Although there's definitely been a resurgence and the interest for Game of Thrones with House of the Dragon being out.
It's interesting. It seems like Game of Thrones, it has kind of like a following which doesn't abate. You know, it's just people are just very passionate about it. Now, the book you put out, is it a memoir or is it kind of you reflecting on your time doing Game of Thrones? Okay, what's kind of the, for lack of a better way of putting it, the gist of the book?
Well, when I first started this process, I didn't know the difference between an autobiography and a memoir. I do now know that. It is definitely a memoir. It's a time in my life, really right from the start till now. Really, it's not an autobiography because I still believe there's plenty more to come. I'm interested to see what's going to happen now, and maybe I'll write another one. But it's just about how the show changed my life, and it really helped me fit into my own skin. And it kind of made me, I don't feel like I fitted into my life when I was younger. And through things like Game of Thrones, music, performance, and really finding who I am, I made my life fit me rather than me trying to fit in, you know, and that's been successful for me.
How did Game of Thrones come to you? Was that something that you were just a working actor? You're out there, you're auditioning, or was there somebody saw you, it's like, yeah, we got this thing we're doing and you're great for it? You know, how did it come together for you?
It's actually a little bit of both. I wasn't working as an actor at the time. I was actually a drag artist and a DJ. And occasionally I would have had a dramatic audition, but I didn't really have that much interest in it at the time because I thought music was the only thing that fulfilled me. I later discovered that it's actually expression that fulfills me, any kind of expression, be it acting, be it DJing, singing, be it drawing a picture on my own with no commercial end to it. It all makes me feel the same, and that's a good thing. Right. I just love to express and create. And that's what the book shows. But it wasn't an easy path for me to get there. And I take paths to blame for that as well myself, because you have to believe in yourself before anybody else will.
I think a lot of self-doubt anytime you do something creative, you know, because what I think motivates people to do something creative, and the folks I've spoken with here and in my career and doing what I do, you know, you have a lot of folks are kind of in their own head a little bit. You know, they have something they want to express. They just got to find the right path, you know. You said you were DJing. That's something for me, which is very cool because I know only my kids know this. Your genre of music or genres of music is something I'm actually pretty into. Question, because I got to nerd out on this. your opinion, because you're the only mixer DJ I've had a chance to speak with. Oh no, no. I did speak to Ariel Vroman, who's a director as well. I did speak with him. He has that new movie, 1992 coming out. Would you say would be like maybe mid to late 90s to early 2000s? Do you think that was kind of like a golden era? A lot of the guys which are now being sampled in music and are having remixes come out. What is your thought on that? Just kind of as a little side note, do you think that was sort of a pivotal era in electronic music?
Very much so. I knew really very little about electronic music back then, but I was a voracious music buyer. We had a routine, a friend and I, we would go down to the local music store on a Monday with as much money or pocket money we could muster. And I would just buy random cheap CD singles. And that's how I got into house music, really, because you had like Robin S.
Yeah.
You had like all the big tracks, which are still being, as you say, remixed today. They've been released like 100 times already, but the originals came out then, and it was a heyday. And it was for quite a long time. The club scene was booming. You had artists like Shapeshifters who did Lola's theme. That changed house music, that record. I would say blame. I would attribute that to the house music explosion, actually. But it's very different now. Very different. And you're right.
Yeah, I'm kind of into, I guess it would be defined like as tropical house. I don't know if that, there's so many sub-genres. And that's kind of like, I don't know, it's because I'm living next to the beach. I don't know if that's kind of like fitting or something. Like I noticed that a lot of the big names there that were just kind of in the scene. And they were getting kind of regular radio airplay, like Robert Miles, the song Children. I remember that was like a big, I've looked at some of the names that you're remixing. Again, I got to geek out a little bit. When you remix a song, what is the process? Do you hear it and go, God, I got some ideas of this song, what I personally can do with it? What's the path of going, I'm going to remix it? Do you get in touch with the artist? And how do you get a hold of the tracks that you need? Or do you just get the raw song and just start playing with it?
There are so many ways to skin a cat. Do we say that anymore? Swing your cat. We'll swing them.
Yeah.
We'll swing them non-violently. The cat's enjoying the swing, guys. So if I go after the track, if there's a track I might want to do, I will contact the artist and I'll ask for the parts. You ask for the parts. If you're producing on a DAW, like Logic or Fruity Loops or Reason, anything like that, those are all different programs for producing electronic music. You get all the parts separately, the bass, the synthesizers, even the automation on the tracks, like turning up a chorus or turning up a reverb. That's all automated. It'll be in the files. So if you can get the original sounds, it's better. Because
I'm assuming it would be, because if it just, you can really rebuild it from scratch. But did you have a musical background? Were you a band kid in school? And
I try to play things in rather than draw them, if you know what I mean, with a mouse. But I can play the piano, I can play the guitar and stuff. So I try to do it slightly differently. You sitting like when you're writing music on a computer like this, it doesn't feel natural to me. So I try to do it on an instrument at least.
As far as the collaborations, like what if you go into your library, what is it that you think is like, oh man, this is for me, this is kind of like perfect collaboration, or this is exactly this is my figurative voice, what would that be for you?
If you're working with an original track, it's all about putting your stamp on it. You obviously have a point of view and you have an end goal. So I first of all try to work out, is this going to work? Is it going to work with the elements that I'm going to change? No doubt I'm going to change the bass line. A lot of the tracks I choose from are traditional, like 90s or 2000s trance. So for a start, I'm going to have to bring them down in BPM by probably 15 to 20 BPM sometimes. And that will automatically create space and therefore a very different vibe to the track. So that's almost that part of the work done for me. If I can slow it down and create a bit more room in the track from all the mad 135 to 145 BPM, I normally sit around 137, 136. Right. It definitely creates headspace in the music. I like that. I enjoy that. When I listen to music, I put my own elements into it in my brain, and I imagine that most people do that, but maybe they don't. I don't know. But when I have a little bit of space in the track, I can sort of, even my imagination goes nuts. Like, even when I listen to some of the old classic records, like Beethoven and stuff, when I was a child, I'd be going, why didn't he do that? Why didn't he try this direction? And my mom was always like, oh, shut up, Christian. Yeah, it's Beethoven. What would you know? And it's true. What would I know? But I've always been into reworking and rejigging.
So do you enjoy, were you always a performer? I know you get up and DJ and you do a live set. You've got, my daughter works she bartended over the summer at a big beach bar here on the island, and Stevie Aoki came and played. And do you enjoy being up in front of a large crowd and just kind of just, what's the energy like for you when you're doing that?
It's the best feeling in the world. Of all the things I do in my life and have done, probably will do, there's nothing gives me a bigger buzz than standing behind a DJ set or being on stage with music. I've played in bands. You asked me before about the band kids thing. I've toured with Scissor Sisters. I've been on tour with a number of bands, actually. It's the same feeling. I just love being on stage. For someone who was such a shy kid, I would have told you were crazy if you told me what I would do for a career.
Isn't that weird how that works out? Yeah, I remember I was telling one of my kids, it's like, I could be on stage in front of 10,000 people. I used to work in radio and had a syndicated show and everything. And I remember I got on stage, I was introducing, I forgot who it was, some late 90s band. And I think it was Goo Goo Dolls, I think.
Wow.
And when you get on stage, when you get lights are on, you can only see the first few rows anyway. That for me was a charge. I was cool, but you put me in front of like 3 or 4 people, that's a different story. So it's like the bigger the crowd, the easier it is for those who are.
I agree with that. And I developed this like focus point, which is just above people's eye line. Mm-hmm. So you're not actually making contact with them, but you do occasionally drop your eyes down to do the fan, the thing, give them a wave, and then focus on that point. It looks like you're looking in the crowd, but you're not.
Were there any parallels that you found in terms of performance between mixing and doing all that and being on a camera?
Well, completely. To me, it's the same. It's the same vibe. When I get up onto the stage to DJ, that's not really me there. In some ways, it's not me. In some ways, it's never more me. But it's not me. I'm sitting here talking to you. It's a character in a way, just like being a drag queen was playing a character version of itself. So it's very obvious that it's the same to me. It's very obvious. It's the same zone in my head. And that's why I realized that it's not just the individual thing of acting or thing of music. It's everything that really lights my fire. And that's why I feel very lucky that I really have tied together 3 or 4 things quite successfully so far. I feel really grateful for it because I like the variation.
So acting, what was like one of the big learning curve things that you're working with experienced actors, you're working on, arguably kind of a popular show. The show is sort of like I mentioned Lost earlier. It had cultural impact, What was that a heady thing for you, or did you know going into it, or while you're doing it, did you have the sense of how big this was or how big it would be, or what was your take on that?
Yes, I first of all did on the first day say how big it was, because they have a castle built inside a studio, and everything's real. It's not just silly props. These are things that have been made by artisans, and everything smells correct. Not that I know what a castle should smell like, but I think it's correct. Mm-hmm. There would be real dead animals hanging up, like just as like a butchery. Like it was real. It felt real. And that made it really easy to inhabit an imaginary space. You really felt like you were there. And there was a sense of responsibility for me, because I did not want to do a bad job. I really did not want to do a bad job. And I was worried about that at first. And the internet didn't do me any favors, because as many people who were celebrating that I got the part, there were other people saying, well, he's not an actor. He's going to make a mess of it. And the weird thing was that when it came out that it was a DJ, the people who didn't know that said, oh, he's going to be a celebrity DJ. And I'm like, I can't win. That was my job for 20 years. It wasn't just an idea I had to bring in some extra money. It was my job. But there was definitely a heaviness for me until I became more confident in what I was doing. And the confidence was the key, really. And also being collaborative.
Yeah, that had to be something a little bit different for you, because when you're DJing, you're in a room in your home and you got your setup and you're building the tracks. Here, but you're on a set, you're with other actors and you're reacting and vibing on their energy. That had to be a big kind of 180 for you, at least a little bit.
Well, no, actually, because really being a good DJ, I was going to say being a DJ, but I'm going to say being a good DJ, you should be able to read a crowd and you should be able to feel that energy. It's all about energy, man. Really, it's all about energy. Isn't life all about energy? But it's the same. It's all about reading the energy correctly and giving your energy back correctly in a way that makes sense artistically.
When Game of Thrones was going on, when you were shooting it, rather, well, first of all, where did y'all shoot Game of Thrones?
With it around Northern Ireland.
Oh, okay.
All my scenes were filmed there.
So it wasn't too big of a jump for you. So going back to your origin story in Ireland, what did your folks do? Were they at all on the creative side of things, or?
Yeah, I never met my father, so I believe he was good at the piano, but I don't know. Mom's not particularly creative. No, I don't come from a pool of musicians or actors. No, maybe it was the milkman. I'm not sure. I've got it from somewhere.
Did you have any siblings coming up, or were you an only kid?
I'm an only child, just me and my mom.
All right, you and I are in the only kid club. I was like people when they say, "Oh, you must have been spoiled." I was like,
spoiled?
No, it's no, not at all, not spoiled. But so you're in Ireland, kind of the arc of your experience based on like what you said, that doing the DJ thing, what you did kind of helped you come out of your, figuratively come out of the closet, come into who you were meant to be, if you will. What was the arc of experience for you, like high school? When did you start feeling like, I'm going to do my thing, the hell with it. I'm going to, feel kind of like you said, your expression, you're finding the ways to express yourself. When did that kick in for you?
I think it was just, I went to a college or a school in Belfast called Methodist College Belfast. It's a great school. Mum really fought hard to put me in there, sadly. And I didn't swim at all. I didn't enjoy any second of it, because it was quite a traditional school. Like think Eton, or like without all the snobs. And Hogwarts, the teachers wore the mortarboards, man, and the bat robe, like swishing about the corridor like they are or something. That's the kind of school it was. And I just did not vibe there. And I remember the last year I wanted to go back to my A levels. I don't know what the equivalent is in America, but it's just before you go to university. I went to go back, and I'd grown my hair over the summer. Didn't seem important, and I got back in. I just got all this hassle about how I looked, and tuck your shirt in. What happens if you're sitting on a bus looking like this? You're not interested in what we want to learn. You're not interested in pushing children towards things that they don't.
It sounds like more of a conformity kind of a thing,
Yeah, at that stage, I'd had enough. It broke my mum's heart. Absolutely, she really fought hard to get me in there, and that was a contentious moment. But I think she realized at the end that I was starting to come out of my shell, and that was so important to me, that that little inch of hair beneath your collar, that little inch, that was so important to me. I would have went to ground for that, because it was just the first statement. It's the first thing I wouldn't back down about.
So you decided to leave early.
Yeah.
What was the next step? Here you are, your mother's like, I don't know what you're doing. Did you already have a North Star? Did you say, this is something I want to do, be it music, or did you just you didn't know anything? You had no idea what you wanted to do.
I knew music, but my mom sent me to that school because it had a legendary music department, and she kind of hoped that would focus me on that. But all they were interested in with me was getting me to play rugby. And I had absolutely zero interest in playing rugby, and that didn't go down well with them. But I didn't have a North Star. Apart from the music I loved, I didn't ever think I could make it a career. I didn't know if I'd be able to, because I didn't think I looked right. I didn't think I had the look. It's a real thing. I don't believe it anymore. But back then, I thought I would have had to look a certain way.
Yeah, so they looked at you, you're 6'10". They're trying to capitalize on your stature, It reminds me, I remember seventh grade, I got to junior high school, and I remember the vice principal I was already really, really tall for my age. I'm 6'2" now. I don't know. I don't remember how tall I was then, but I was one of the taller kids. And he came up to me and he said, hey, we really would love you to, comes up to my locker. It's like, you play basketball. We want to see you at the tryouts. I'm like, I had zero interest in playing basketball. And it just was not a sport that really grabbed me. And so I remember the rest of my junior high experience. I think he was irritated at me. I was not his favorite person because I wouldn't play or something, but I know that feeling.
I had the feeling too. You had the coach that was a little bit disappointed in you.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in this shit, dude. Honestly, so interesting.
So when did the DJing come into your life? When did you sit down and start mixing? Was it something that you had heard and like, how do they do that? Or did you just kind of fall into it?
I was simply a club kid, and I was working, as I say, in drag, and someone didn't show up for a shift one night, and I learned how to do it in music college, and I fell in for him, and the rest was history. It just worked. It worked really well. I was the kid who, when I was I've been a big heavy metal fan all my life as well, and I would bring my friends to my bedroom, and I'd be listening to a guitar solo, and I was so keen to share things that I loved. I'd be like, look, listen to this part, and no doubt my friend wasn't a musician, and they would be going, yeah, whatever. But I was so excited. And for me, being a DJ, that's the same thing. It's like sharing the things I love with people. That's why I feel so good about it. And if the crowd's going really well, you'll get that all back. The energy gets returned to you, and I love that. And actually, I don't do as much as I used to because things are slightly different now since COVID. I used to be DJing 4 times a week.
Really?
Yeah, all over the world. But it's going to come back again. But I really miss it.
See, that to me seems like the exciting thing, being able to travel to the different festivals. Like I've always wanted to go to like Ibiza in Spain and check that out. Like there's, cause I like the Balearic trance stuff. There's a guy named DJ Shaw or Roger Shaw, I think's his name. But just kind of that vibe. Everybody's there to have a good time. They're all into that thing. And you're just kind of vibing on it. To me, that'd be kind of fun. I'm a little old, I get. Well, I'm not old, but I'm kind of at that point of going, fuck it. I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. I'm like, I want to go check it out. I'll bring them. I'm sure some of my kids will go along with me. Like, oh yeah, the old guy, he's got some issue apparently. But no, I think that'd be a blast to travel around the world DJing.
Ibiza is the hype. People who've gone there for years will tell you it's not as good as it used to be. I don't have that experience, so I don't know that. But I've played there 2 or 3 times now, and they were memorable nights. And there's a vibe in the air. You can almost smell it.
Sure, something that you can smell for sure, yeah.
Especially when there's clubs involved. You can almost feel it in the air in Ibiza. You have this vibe of partying and just low. It doesn't matter what age you are, man. You should go.
Yeah, that's kind of like that movie, that XOXO that Netflix put out. That it just seemed like it was trying to capture a little nugget of what that experience is like. People who are kind of flying their own freak flag, for lack of a better way of putting it, and doing it proudly, which is pretty cool.
The great feel of that. The club kids, club ornament as well. The door whores, clubs were a haven for that, and that's what I loved the most.
I feel like I'm getting an education here. Door whores.
That has been mentioned over the years.
Going to the Game of Thrones, and then our flag means. I haven't seen our flag means death. It is on the list as well. Is there a genre? Is there a kind of be it a project, be it actors or something now that you would like to get into, that you would like to do, a movie, a show? So there is something that you would like to tap into creatively on camera that you haven't done yet.
Really, I just live for the next project. I know it sounds like a bit of a cop-out, but I really do love the variation in my career. So whatever's next is what I'm looking forward to. I have no doubt there'll be something cool coming, because
being a surfer, you're not really sure what wave's coming in, but you're ready to surf.
Exactly. Kind of thing. I can react to the waves. I know the ocean, I know the sea, so I think I can react accordingly. But I don't have any plans. I've never planned. If you read the book, you'll probably be very aware. There were never any concrete plans, and I don't really intend to make any. So
I think there is something to be said for improv. That's just improving your way through it. And I'm trying to remember. I did a little bit of cursory, just kind of looking through. You did my kids is our show we all watch. It's The Rookie. Okay. I'm trying to remember the episode. Was that the episode where Eric Winter had to fight you, I think, or something like that. Am I thinking of the right episode or?
I was a guy who'd been assaulted actually as a gay man, and who was living in shut in. He didn't like being outside. He was terrified to go out.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I gotcha. I was trying to remember because I know there was one episode. I was like, okay, I know my kids and I have seen every episode. I was trying to think of what I do remember that episode. Now, Beyond the Throne, did you have any epiphanies writing the book? Did you ever write and go, oh, I didn't really kind of put this together until now? Sitting down, put my life notes in front of me. Was there an epiphany about your growing up or anything?
The whole book was an epiphany. Everything's been an epiphany to me. I didn't ever expect to be writing about my life. So that in itself was an epiphany. But even during these interviews, I've had some epiphanies because my life, you remember? It's not just, obviously you're reading off a page or whatever, it's whatever. But while I talk about my life, I'm always breaking it down every time as well. So I'm literally having like moments to myself in every interview also. So there's hundreds of them in the book. And that has been a process. It really has. And I feel better now. I feel like it has cleansed me a little.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You got to put it out there, and then you look at it from different angles and you kind of process it and you realize, especially if you're kind of like of that mentality, you got to keep moving forward, past is past. Sometimes you compartmentalize it. You don't really have a chance to kind of work through it. And I imagine writing a book forces you to kind of work through understanding more about yourself at the very assuming.
Well, yeah, also, I'm not afraid for people to know me. I haven't always made all the best decisions, and I don't know if it would change them, but I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of anything I've done, and anything I need to explain. I don't do explaining, but if I had to, I could explain it. Even the wrong decisions.
Well, is there any takeaway that you would like, someone like yourself with your upbringing or with your life experience, if you could reach somebody with a book, who would that be? And kind of what would you want their takeaway to be? If you could kind of influence or motivate or whatever you want to call it, or make somebody feel better about a moment in life, what would you like? Who would you like to talk to with this book?
I want to talk to the people who, like me when I was younger, the life is full of people telling you who you are and who they want you to be and who you should be. But there's only one. There's only one person that matters, and that's yourself. As long as you're happy with yourself, don't let anybody else influence you, who you are and what you love, because that is not a recipe for success and happiness. And it will come out in horrible negative ways in your life. Even if the people who are trying to influence you think they're doing it for the best, it's just toxic and unhealthy to be anyone but who you truly are. And if I can help someone get there faster, maybe through my own example, I'd be happy. I'll be a happy boy.
That's awesome. I like that. That's I heard something a quote once. It said they didn't really know necessarily the secret to success, but they knew the secret to failure. Trying to make everybody happy all the time. Well, before we get going, I got something I call my 7 questions. I always like to throw it out at the end of our little chats here. Gives a little extra get to know you. First question I got is, what is your favorite comfort food? That thing it just makes you feel good. Had a bad day, you want it. Had a great day, you want it too. What would that be for you?
There's a shameful answer to this, and I wouldn't have to reach my arm very far to prove it. Probably McDonald's.
That's okay. My youngest daughter, Emma, traveled. She over the summer, she studied in Spain. Then she went back. She met a friend. She went back to Italy. She has a thing for trying McDonald's in every country, in Portugal.
Why? Yeah, I tried McDonald's in every goddamn country.
Well, it's probably healthier if you can see that in other countries besides the U.S. because they can't put all the same junk in it that they do here. But
I'm gonna play death on that one.
Well, there you go. So hey, McDonald's, Happy Meals as a kid, that was my thing. Now, if you were to sit down with 3 people and have a cup of coffee, talk story for a few hours, living or not, who would those 3 people be you would like to sit down and chat with?
That's a huge question. I would like to sit down with Tina Turner. Mm-hmm. That's someone that I've always really loved to have met and admired greatly. First concert I ever went to.
Really?
Yeah, and Tina Turner is my hero. Maybe I'd like to meet Gary Oldman.
Oh yeah,
Just to thank him for being one of the best actors in the world and bringing some of my favorite characters to life.
such a community.
And I would like, oh yeah, he's someone that I really look up to. Actually, that's me, Bill Murray.
That's one of my favorite tables to sit at. The one you just laid out here is like somehow that's perfect. I don't know. That's just like I haven't heard somebody put that combination together. I like that. Bill Murray is just
Role model for female, weirdly, but the way you ask that question, it's weird that they're all males because if I normally see my heroes, they're all female role models, but that's interesting because that's a slightly different way to look at it.
next question. When you were young, who was your first celebrity crush?
Luke Skywalker. No hesitation there.
I'm loving this. You're giving me things I haven't heard before. Luke Skywalker. That is awesome. I'm going to remember that forever.
I don't know what's the back and chips. Number chips.
Yeah, Eric Estrada? Or
Yeah,
no. Or is it John?
John, it was John.
The blonde guy. Yep. Well, now we know your type.
Well, that was my childhood type.
Very good. Well, now, next question. Now, if you're going to be living on an exotic island, you somewhere it's like a resort, somewhere you want to be, but there's no internet, no streaming. You're going to be there a year. You got to bring one album with you and one DVD or one movie that you're comfortable just watching and listening to all year. What would that album be? What would that DVD be?
The album would either be, this is easy for me because music questions are easy. It would either be the Tron soundtrack from Daft Punk.
Oh, yeah.
Which is amazing. Or Sonic Temple by The Cult. That's been my favorite rock album for many years. So those are the albums. I know I picked two, but yeah, whatever. Sue me. And what was the other one? It was
what would the movie be? Yeah.
Well, my go-to TV show is Frasier, but weirdly, my go-to movie is probably Tron to get me to sleep. That's my go-to-sleep movie. I mean, the soundtrack really it calms me. But Lost in Translation, possibly.
Oh, I just told somebody about that the other day. That is one of my favorite all-time. That's one of those movies. If I see it on TV, I'm watching it. It's just such a great movie. So well done.
And to me, it really represents being in a strange city, not really knowing where you are, missing your family. It's just all a bit weird, but you're in a privileged situation, and you have to do your work as well.
Yeah, and you find your people in the most random ways sometimes.
Exactly.
If you were to define, next question, your definition of a perfect day, what would the component parts be from the time you get up till the time you went to sleep? What would some of those component parts be to say this has been a good day?
Okay, I'd probably start off on the beach. I love the sea. I love the beach. That would be the last outdoor event. I'd probably go home and boot up World of Warcraft for an hour, only because it's a special day, only for an hour. Getting to chill with my friends and just hanging out and having a laugh and forgetting about work. That's a good day. I'm a little ADHD. I find it hard to focus sometimes. And so finding things that just let me relax. I love to craft stuff. I've recently got into crafting a lot. So I'm customizing trainers. I don't know what's happening to me. I'm turning into like a one-man Etsy. But I find that really helps me ADHD. It just calms my mind. And that's what I do it for. I'm not looking to set up an empire here. But yeah, some crafting, a beach, some Warcraft, and my friends.
That's perfect. Now, last couple of questions is, if you weren't doing this for a living, what else could you be doing that you would derive joy from? That would be your jam. What else would you be doing besides this?
Well, I was training to be a sign language interpreter before this, and I really loved it. I also was studying as a counselor. So I was aiming myself to be like a therapist for hearing impaired people. I love that. I love the science of helping people. It's interesting to me, and and when you help other people, you usually end up helping yourself as well.
I always wanted to learn sign language as well. The high school I went to was in our district was the place a lot of the hearing impaired kids went to. So we had an interpreter in front of the class, and I was always trying to figure out if I could interpret what they were doing. But now the last question I got for you, if you were to jump into that DeLorean and you're going to be going back to have a moment with 16-year-old you got a piece of advice to pass along to make that moment, either that moment better or set yourself on a little bit different path. What would your advice to 16-year-old you be?
I would actually grab myself by the face. I would grab myself and stare into my eyes and just go, trust yourself. Just trust yourself. Don't let anyone else don't believe or don't go for what anyone else wants you to do. Just believe in yourself. It took me a very, very long time.
My friend, I appreciate you taking time out to talk to me. This has been wonderful. I really appreciate it. And of course, Beyond the Throne, looking forward to checking that out. Great story just from what you've told me. And I'm going to be, we should check in at some point in time down the line after I've seen all of Game of Thrones and compare some notes. But my friend, have yourself a wonderful rest of your week. And hopefully we'll have a chance to check in down the line, my friend.
I hope so. Have a really great day, my friend. I really appreciate this.
Well, there you go, Kristian Nairn. Really enjoyed the opportunity to sit down with him. Of course, the new memoir, it is out right now. It is called Beyond the Throne, recounting an intriguing journey. Cool guy, again. Game of Thrones, you can check him out. HBO, also Our Flag Means Death. HBO as well, and Max. But I really enjoyed the opportunity to sit down with Kristian, grab the book, and of course, pop on over to storyandcraftpod.com. That's where you can find out everything about the show, everything about past guests, past episodes, and of course on your podcast app, whether you're using Spotify or iTunes or whatever you're using, make sure to follow the show. Muy importante. That way you get notified every time there is a new episode. Of course, all the good stuff happening on the app. You get in there, follow the show, leave a review, leave a like. Very much appreciated. Appreciate you showing love, most certainly. And also, you can sign up for the newsletter at storyandcraftpod.com. New episode, anything new going on with the show, usually fire off an email to let you know. And so, hey, I want to thank you again for making Story and Craft part of whatever you've got going on during your day, during your week, whatever. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I'm going to get on out here, get this very well-behaved golden retriever puppy, who I'm actually surprised he's so chill right now under me. I'm going to get him outside, little treat. Oh my God, I said the T word. I got his attention now. All right, I'm going to get on out of here. I'm going to check you next time right here on Story and Craft.
That's it for this episode of Story and Craft. Join Mark next week for more conversation right here on Story and Craft. Story and Craft is a presentation of Mark Preston Productions, LLC. Executive producer is Mark Preston. Associate producer is Zachary Holden. Please rate and review Story and Craft on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. You can subscribe to show updates and stay in the know. Just head to storyandcraftpod.com and sign up for the newsletter. I'm Emma Dillon. See you next time, and remember, keep telling your story.
Come on.